You may begin.
Okay, I guess we're gonna start this. I think we should start with each character and go through it. And so you just say, well, how much time do we have for this?
We have as much time as we need thank you for asking that. Because since we only have one group, I didn't even think to put the timer on. But remember, you need to do instruction number 16, choosing a foreman or forewoman.
Okay, great. So everybody has to express their views because every juror member is supposed to be able to do that. Well, like this, okay. So we're just supposed to go through the whole thing. Sure. Okay. So let's start at the top and go from Tom Robinson. Who wants to start? Anybody?
I'll go.
Yeah.
I said that his claim was that he did not know that she grabbed his legs and pulled him down off the chair, grabbed him, and then he never would have gone to the house or like set foot on the property without permission first. And then she like continuously like asked him to do small chores or like things for him.
Yep. You have evidence to support that.
One of the things that he said was she called me and she like every time I walked over, she asked me a small thing to do, and then she hugged me around the waist and reached up to kiss me.
Thank you. Tom claims that he didn't rape Mayella and that he only came into the house to help her with something, and then that she took advantage of him. And my evidence to support that is Scout Look, Reverend. He's crippled. Reverend Skies explained to us that Tom got his arm caught in Mr. Dolphus Raymond's cotton gin when he was just a boy. He almost bled to death and the machine had tore the muscles loose from his bones. This clearly proves that Tom Robinson wasn't physically capable of doing such things. And that, shows that he couldn't have taken advantage of Mayella and that he's just trying to defend himself.
I agree with Melanie and Miranda because Tom said that he was attracted on Mayella because she asked him to come inside the house to fix a door for her. He said in the book that she reached up and kissed him on the side of the face. She said she never kissed a grown man before, but she might have kissed him.
Yep. Carly?
Oh, I agree with all of you really because he couldn't have done it because of his left arm, and he just wasn't like that. Yeah.
So do we think that we all agree with that Tom couldn't have done it because he was crippled and that it wasn't him that started it, it was Mayella? Yep. Okay, so that's a good one for Tom. Okay, now we go to Mayella. And Colt, you get to start this.
My claim is that she attacked Tom and he came inside to do something for
Mayella?
Oh, I said that Mayella. And my evidence for that was Bob Ewell's attitude towards her throughout the trial.
Me?
I agree with
I had the same thing.
So what do we think the over everything's idea of Mayella should be?
She lied.
And brought Tom up to the stand. What from the trial text makes you think that?
When she was getting questioned, half the answers, like she didn't even answer any questions.
Yeah, with writers, she like got super offended. And was like super annoyed. Basically, her whole life, she got offended by like, do you have any friends or like, do they call you? Mallory and Ryder also, because what Ryder said, how she didn't answer some of the questions. One of the questions she was asked was, who be Tom Robinson or your father? She had no response to that. Kind of make you question.
There was something in the book that said like that someone said she has to be the loneliest person alive. She just didn't have any except for herself. But yeah, except for flowers. And that just shows that she can actually take like she's different than all of them, but I feel like it was her father's the one that went up to the police to Heck Tate and just like started the whole thing because he gave her that he didn't want to be accused of anything.
I found some evidence in the book. It's when she was being questioned by Atticus, and he asked, I mean, is he good to you? Is he easy to get along with? And then she says, he does tolerable, except when, and then she doesn't answer. And then Atticus says, except when he's drinking, and then Mayella nodded. And that, like, shows, or that makes you think differently because that shows that he's not a very good father. And I don't remember if that was before or after they showed that Tom was crippled, but that still makes you think differently because it makes you think different about Bob and the way he treated Mayella.
His family, not even his family, his other kids too.
Does anybody else have anything to add? No? Okay. Bob Ewell. Yes, I'll start this one. I said that Bob Ewell was coming out of the woods when he heard his daughter yelling. And that's when he got to the house and looked in the window and saw Tom Robinson raping. So that was his testimony of the thing, of the whole trial, and that he never, well, and so that's when he got mad after that, when Tom said that he started.
For Bob, during his testimony, when Heck Tate has his testimony and Bob's is after, he's like agreeing with everything that Heck Tate says, and he doesn't really say himself. And then also when he talks about Mayella, he says some pretty bad things about her. Like he says that she sounds like a hog or whatever.
Why do you think he said that?
Because he's not a good person. And he wanted to make it seem dramatic, so he used these bad words to describe his daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, it also kind of shows like just by him calling her all those names, kind of like makes people want to go towards Tom Robinson's like legacy, or like him calling her hog.
Bob had said that he was coming back to the house and that he heard her screaming, and that's when he ran to the house. And a quote in the book was, "Did you call a doctor, Sheriff? Did anybody call a doctor?" And both Heck Tate and Bob said no. And that proves that nothing, like, even with her condition, Bob didn't care about Mayella, really. And that he doesn't care that really
Tom,
I don't know.
and it
I don't know
shows
what
like,
to say.
and like it shows like if they went and would have gotten a doctor, the doctor would have showed that she never got raped. Well, yeah, she never got raped. She only got beaten up by someone. And when Tom was in there, they never saw him beating her up.
Yeah,
I guess.
Miranda,
So
just by saying he forgot to go get a doctor, on the shows that Tom is involved with her health.
that's the one thing you should go get when you've been and he missed that fact. So that just shows his guiltiness. Okay. Does anybody have anything else to add to Bob? No? Okay. Let's go on to Heck Tate. Philip, you want to start?
Sure. Heck Tate claimed that Tom was not guilty. He even gave like a testimony that's kind of supported Atticus claims here. And he knew that he was just like from a very good family and that their father was a bad person. Something that Heck Tate said, he said, "I'm not a very good man, sir, but I am the sheriff of Macon County. Lived in this town all my life. I'm going on 43 years now. I know everything that's happened there since I was born. There's a reason. There's a black boy dead for no reason. So, like, he knows that Tom should be dead."
I agree with what Stoic is saying because, like, during the during his testimony, he's like saying everything that I don't know. He's just like saying the stuff that he should be saying, but deep down, I think he knows that Tom Robinson didn't really but he doesn't really want to do this the way people in the court.
Yeah, especially since there's no evidence that he raped Mayella. Like, not at all. So,
But they also just like, he really wasn't like on his side. He was just kind of like giving a testimony of like what he heard. So I don't really think he was like on his side. But even after the trial, he kind of like showed that he was on Tom Robinson's side.
He just like he wasn't on either side, and he like didn't want to throw out any accusations that he was unsure of what really happened.
so that's why he did arrest Tom Robinson then, because, like, just from going, like, everything that Heck Tate said at the beginning was technically true, because Bob came to the station, found Mayella on the floor beaten up, but by who, we don't know, but we do technically know. And then he goes, asks Mayella who it was. She says Tom Robinson. That's the order of events. Like, that's how it usually happens. But usually, like, they're tried and they find the real case. But in this case, people lied, even though they had their hand in the Bible or whatever. I don't know how. Okay. Does anybody have anything else for Heck Tate? No? Okay. Atticus. Colt on Mariella.
For Atticus, I said that Atticus thought that people were only going against Tom Robinson because they were doing racist, and there's no evidence for that. It's on page 231. And the state has not produced one iota of medical evidence to the effect that the crime Tom Robinson was charged with ever took place. It has relied instead upon the testimony of witnesses whose evidence has not only been called examination, but has been flatly contradicted by the defendant. The defendant is not guilty of some evidence.
That's good. Daphne? Do you have anything else to add? No? Piper?
Robinson is going to be guilty just because of the way he was, but
everyone was kind of leaving. Yeah. Because a lot of people were like talking about how Atticus shouldn't have tried, but then you see he did try a lot on this case.
And he said that he couldn't keep his head up if he didn't try to, and he couldn't like be with his children if he didn't do that because he would have felt so bad or something. Like had so much guilt from not trying to help a black person that it was that, and especially since he knew that he was innocent and everybody knew that he was innocent. It was just this race that made him lose the trial.
And like with what he said, he felt really bad for Mayella, and he knew her situation. So like he knew that she didn't actually get raped, but she was trying to protect herself from something that was going on with her dad. And he felt really bad for her, and that it's just a mistake, and she's like blaming it on this man who hasn't done anything just to save herself.
Yep. So Atticus, he went into it knowing that there was a good chance they weren't gonna win the case, but like from some of the things he said, he wanted the case to be equal because like he was talking about how he wanted the jury or the judge to give up or to put racial differences aside, and he also said how all men are like created equal, so he wanted it to be an equal case, but you can really tell that the judge like actually took that into consideration because it took the judge like a long jury or the jury knew
The judge knew what had happened,
Yeah.
and that's why they gave Atticus the case because the judge knew that what was right. And it helped that Atticus was the judge. I mean, the lawyer.
You can also see what kind of person Atticus is when it comes to like Charles, because you can also see he heard or he said like I'm the same man in town as I am in my home. You can tell what kind of person it is.
Especially since he knew that, and he said we were linked a long time ago because of slavery and all the blacks. So,
Ms. Forewoman, you may want to summarize in order to bring Crystal up to speed. It's been
okay.
discussed.
So for Tom Robinson, we went through all of them, all the way down to Tom Robinson. All the way down to Atticus, and we said that our claim for Tom Robinson was that Mayella just took him into court and dragged him. Well, for both of them, that Mayella was helping. Mayella, like, words are coming out.
took advantage of it.
Yeah, Mayella took advantage of Tom and brought him to court because she was kind of scared of her father, and that Tom was innocent and that he was just trying to do the right thing. And then Bob was that he was
He basically did the same thing, like kind of like brought him into the whole thing, accusing him of rape, and all of a sudden it was like clear that Tom couldn't really do it, and it was like since Bob was left-handed, like it was very clear that he would have had to have done it with Tom not having something.
And then Heck Tate said what he knew, and that he had suspicions about if it was true or not, but that he just said mostly facts about what he knew and how it happened. And then Atticus, I think you just heard. Okay, Mr. Gilmer. Do you have him? Okay. Wait. Writer.
Yes.
Mr. Gilmer.
So, when he was questioning the defendant and the accuser, he was very biased toward the accuser, which was Mayella and Bob, because when he was asking the questions, he was being very rude to Tom, and it was rude. And then when he was asking Mayella, he was all kind and understanding, and then he was got defensive when Tom called. Well, when Tom said Mayella was lying, And then when Tom said that he was sorry for her, he also got defensive. So it's a quote. It's really long.
Just read a little bit of it.
No, sir, I ain't. When you say then you say she's lying, boy. And I don't say she's lying, Miss Gilmer. I say she's mistaken in her mind. And then he just bombards him with a bunch of questions.
I think Mr. Gilmer was like very disrespectful while they were in the court because he was very disrespectful to Tom because he talked down to Tom and called him boy and things when he like not praised, but he was a lot kinder and more respectful to Mayella and her and his choice of words towards her. And he also it seems like he believes that Tom just has to be lying just simply because he's black, and that just because he's black that makes him violent and not good.
I remember that Dale became upset because of the way Mr. Gilmer talked to Tom Robinson, and it just upset him because of Dale's situation.
Yeah. And I think that Mr. Gilmer thinks that he's obviously going to take the side of Mayella because she's white and Tom's black. But doesn't necessarily mean that he thinks that Mayella is innocent. No. But I guess he would rather help the white than black, is what I see in my opinion. Because, and then when Judge Taylor was pulling the jury guilty, it showed that Mr. Gilmer had accomplished something by helping Mayella and that he chose the right thing.
Bristol, do you have anything else to add to Mr. Gilmer's side?
Not really. Does anybody else have something in there?
I think that like Mr. Gilmer calling Tom and calling the like since he was only doing that because Tom's black and he's like dehumanizing all the black people in that court.
So I think what we're saying for Mr. Gilmer is that he just, I don't know. Yeah, he just sided with the white people. I thought it was right to do that. Yep. Okay. Well, that's all of our people, so good job on that. I think for our themes that we should go around.
Let's start first or end the jury deliberation by coming to your
Okay.
decision.
So, the state proved beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant, Tom Robinson, committed the offense of rape against Mayella Ewell. I think that, raise your right hand if you think yes. Is that how it happens?
You can, yep.
Yeah? Or like say aye if you think that, I don't know.
Yep.
Okay. All in favor of yes, that Tom committed the offense of rape against Mayella Ewell, raise your right hand. Okay, all who oppose, same sign.
So your verdict is?
So our verdict is that Tom Robinson did not commit rape against Mayella Ewell. Okay, that was great. Then what do I do?
Now you can finish the rest of the discussion.
Okay. So I think that we should go around and each say one of our themes, or like a theme from the book. And if you have the same theme, just build off of it. Sound good?
You no longer have to have a four-person.
Okay. Perfect.
I think one of the themes is prejudice because they already have their Well, when we watched that video about the lawyer who said you can't be biased, whenever. So I think that one of the things is prejudice because in the court, all the people in the court were prejudiced.
My feeling was we can never really judge someone until you set the mission. It was also kind of what Atticus said too, but I think it was a major one because with the trial, just like around town, and like what the book said, you can really tell like how the blacks were treated, and we didn't even know them. Like they were just like always the poor ones, and like how they're like they always lost the trial because of their color. They never really had like a say in the town.
Obviously, there's a lot of like racism in the town, and you could just tell how much racism really affected the lives of black and white people, and how it could completely change your life based on one decision or one split second. Just, I don't know, there's just,
This was a really like, bad time, and it was during the Great Depression, so it was like, a really bad time, I guess.
I also had the theme of racism. And in the town, you can see like a lot of racism, like Carlin said. And it's like a bad theme because it shows how bad the white people were treating the blacks and how separated the town was. And by the trial, it just shows even more how badly the blacks were being accused of things and like how badly they were just being treated.
Well, for randos, I also said something about the racist like society. I think without the book being like Makeup being a racist society, the story could have ended a lot differently because the trial kind of ended in a way of racism. It could have came to a different conclusion because it seems a lot like the outcome of the story was based on racism and the color talks there.
I said that people don't need to judge people on how they look because they could be like different skin color or something, but could as well just be as fine as you are.
Or even better.
One of my things with racism and it all affects injustice in the legal system, especially if
I mean, that's like the same thing as knowledge because well, the people in that town automatically just thought the black people were like criminals and they're just bad people in general, which they were because the white people that actually got to know those people.
judge somebody just by the way they look, how they act. One somebody
It said don't judge someone until you walk a mile in their shoes.
why do you think
It's something Atticus said.
so? I just said it was unfair but realistic during like the year. I says that I said no.
You messed me up.
I think that one of the concepts we had touched about in the book was humanity, and in the first power of the book, it was specifically the power of words, and well, Atticus's words, and the main message I have seen the author developing throughout his words in the book is that you can't judge someone based on your opinion. That you have to get to know a person and see where they're coming from before you can judge them. One thing that Atticus says is that you really never understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, and
that this quote shows and wants the reader to understand that until you see things from that person's perspective, that you have or have to live in that person's life, you cannot judge it. I'm not a poor person no more. No more. No more.
Okay. So we all kind of have the same thing. Analyze the structure. So, I think for the structure of the book, like how we were talking about earlier when we did like the sticky notes thing on the computer. I thought the structure is really just like what it's about and how it goes from like one storyline to another, and then they connect in the end, and like just the point of view it's in, and just how the story's like brought upon or told, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that because like the whole like base of the book is like the social environment of the town and how like the people are in it, and it's really the cause of everything that happens.
I also said million because it's like it shows that story structure shows how racist the town was, and it basically like shows the whole plot, and if it wasn't like in that kind of plot, then it might not be the same story as it is. And
I agree with everything else to say. It's million because the first part especially was all about the times and time. We go sit in a time with things with lots
I think that, well, this is how she chose to like move the book and continue the plots going on. Well, I think that she chose to move and manipulate the book by references and flashbacks, like in the beginning of the book when she foreshadowed that Jen had a broken arm, and at the end Jen had a broken arm. Just like showed that throughout the book she like I have words for this.
basically told us.
Yes, told us what was going to happen at the end of the book. She showed that and reflected that upon her foreshadowing and things throughout the book.
You think there's a reason she chose to call it that way?
I don't know. I think that she chose it so that in the beginning, that it made you think and wonder like where this was going to come to play inside the book. And when you got to it, it was like an aha moment. Like I found where she foreshadowed it and stuff.
So, does anyone else think it's something other
Well, I think it's million still, but like it's just a different part of the structure. Does anybody have anything on the climax and resolution of the book? No.
Okay, so analyze your experience. I said that during the whole book, we kind of like got a big point of how people were, or at least how Maycomb was during that time, and like how people dealt with the racism, and like how even lawyers got through trials and got like super hard. Like Atticus never like gave up on Tom even after he got put in jail. He still like tried.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think that like the book made you realize what racism was like and like how they treated each other back then. So like it like opens your mind to how different things are today than they were back then, from racism and the court system and all that stuff, because the court they don't just take the white person's side anymore. I mean sometimes they like can lean, I guess, but now we have blacks in the courtroom like as judges and juries and women too. So that's advanced a lot and everything else. So it just made you realize how, I'm gonna say, horrible things that were back then. And just everything that happened.
I remember those, but in a different kind of way. Like the book, like she was talking more about like what the book was telling us about. I was thinking about like how the book tried to keep us like engaged with it throughout the whole story. Like how she said and really like showed it like foreshadowed, which like kept you engaged, trying to figure out what it was trying to explain or show, I guess. And then at the beginning, I mean, like it wasn't super interesting and like just didn't really get the whole story until like, it connected with the other part.
I agree with Lisa because you get to see like at the beginning of the book how it foreshadowed and in the end it like showed us, and like at first I didn't really realize that until we had to go back to the beginning and we read it, and I saw that it literally said he was gonna get broken on. And it also like we got to see in the book like how people got treated back then compared to like how they're treated now, like in the real world.
We haven't heard from any of you guys, so what do you think?
And what you experienced was, what you thought stood out to you.
So foreshadowing.
I think that the first person detached perspective made it really engaging and interesting to listen to. I was interested in seeing the Jim's perspective throughout the trial. Maybe that would make it more.
That's a good part.
Does anybody else have anything?
It looks like you have something to say.
No.
Okay. That's all.
Okay, so good job on your discussion, your jury deliberation and discussion. Yeah, how long have we been going? Let's see, 37 minutes. Wow, you're all surprised at yourselves. Okay, so what are the things that we did well? Yep, including everyone. Cool. Good. Mallory?
Having evidence.
Yeah, so much more evidence was used this time than what we've had before. Part of that is because we actually had a book that you were taking, annotating and taking evidence from quite a while. So knowing that your annotations help you have evidence to use in discussions and your writing is a huge learning that I hope that you've experienced. Good. What else?
I feel like even though we had like a forum, she didn't like completely take over and not let anybody else get their ideas. She
Yes.
did a good job of like letting everyone get their ideas out.
Yes, and that is the goal. So good job, Riley. Also, one thing that I was going to comment on when you were speaking and all of a sudden you couldn't come up with your words, you said, help me, the words aren't coming. And that is so good. So often we get, especially when we're in a group, we get to all of a sudden we can't think of it, but we know something needs to be said. It will come. It will come. And just mentioning that helped me out here because being honest as a communicator is huge. So good job on that. Awesome. What else? And for stepping in, Mallory, and everyone else stepping in, having your contribution be made to the collective understanding is good. All right.
Also brought Lisa in.
Yep.
Introducing her.
Bringing her up to speed. Yeah. And that's important too, because that's just real life. We oftentimes have communication situations where we come into the middle of something, and being able to step in and understand where the conversation is so that you can make a contribution to it is important, and to help the people that you see come into a conversation. That's really key. Good. What else?
I think people elaborate a lot more in this type of discussion.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah. Very good. Okay. What was that?
we might go really long time.
Yes. Yeah, good job. Okay, so we will have one more conversation at the end. So what are some things, not only that you'll want to work on for improvement on our next conversation, but any intelligent conversation that you have from this point forward? Mallory?
I think I know some of us are very prepared on discussion.
That is huge. That is huge. Yeah. Stella?
I think being confident in what you're saying, because like if you're saying something and you like maybe get nervous or you think you're not right, like it'll make it seem like you're not right, even if you're right.
And what's the connection between the preparation that Mallory just said and your confidence?
Because if you're prepared, then you're gonna be more confident in what you have to say than if you like are just coming up with it on the spot.
Right. It's hard to come up with things on the spot. And even if you're not as confident, but you can simply just read what you have prepared. So notes, yeah, huge skill and tool to use.
Make sure that you're speaking up so everybody can hear you.
It's very important. Your volume and articulation or enunciation. All right. Well, great. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, we all need to work on wherever we are in that process, rising up to the occasion, whether that's pushing ourselves to speak or putting the brake on to let others speak or to draw them into the conversation. Yeah. Very good, guys. Great job. We need to move to the reflection part of your prep sheet.
We're done. Riley was waiting.